This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 461, recorded on September 24th, 2020. Here at Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios. Here, Mike, we've had a pretty good stretch of weather. We could use some rain, but fall is great, right? I mean,
my lawns never looked better, Jim. We talked about this. We had that high heat, then we had some nice cool weather. After a lot of rain, we got super lucky. But no, yeah, we've been hit great with weather. For you ham radio guys, getting out this weekend because the weather is so great. We can do a Parks on the Air activation. The weather has been fantastic.
Good. Well, of course, we post a show, world-class show notes out at theaverageguy.tv. This one will be /HGG461. Kyle Wilcox is here with us tonight. Kyle, I remember I got some feedback from you one time, and you said you had no idea what I was saying in the opening. I would say, this is Home Gadget Geeks. We cover all the you're like, I don't know what he's saying on there. I changed the music just for you. Can you hear it now?
It's better. I mean, part of the problem is my fault because I listen at 1.7. So
Yeah, no worries. It was really great feedback. Like nobody ever likes to hear those kinds of things. You're like, oh, you mean I've been doing this for 400 episodes and no one can understand what I'm saying through the music? And it was true. Like I listened to it, and
that's just how good the podcast is. It was worth sticking through it. So
even though they had no idea, I was saying.
Rockstar guest when he starts off like that. There we go.
He's just greasing the wheels. Kyle, we'll get to Kyle here in just a second. Just a couple community things. I'm going to do them quick, and then we'll talk a little bit more community stuff at the end. Big thanks to those folks that showed up for our first ever Patreon meetup tonight. So I had about 9 gentlemen show up, and we had a good time together, including Mike. And so thanks for doing that. We'll do some more Patreon meetups again. If you're on the Patreon team and you didn't get a chance to join us, we'll do another one. So just make sure you're getting your emails from Patreon when I send them to you, because that's kind of how I know who you are, and make sure that email is up to date and such, so that you can get notifications of when we're doing these as well. So big thanks to those. And then don't forget the October 24th barbecue grill and smoker meetup. It's gonna be great. So if you haven't signed up for that, if you go out to theaverageguy.eventbrite.com, the event is listed. I believe it's listed out there. It's not. If it's in our newsletters, you can sign up at theaverageguy.tv/subscribe if you want to be notified of that. We got some fun stuff coming up, and you're going to want to be a part of it. Of course, if you have any questions and you can't figure anything out, just email me, Jim at theaverageguy.tv. Kyle, good to have you back. You've been a big friend of the show for a long time. We kind of talked about that during the Patreon meetup tonight. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate it.
It's fun to be here.
It's always good to have you, and you've always got some interesting things, which I'd love to have you cover. Catch us up a little bit. I think it's been a year or so maybe since we've had you on the show. What have you been up to? I think life's been pretty calm and nothing big going on in the world. So
I'm very pleased with the our second son. So he's 3 months old now. So had a baby in June, and he's adorable and fat and chunky and happy and sleeps through the night, and so couldn't really ask for anything better. So that's my most exciting thing.
That's all true.
It's
right?
all true. It's all true.
Chunky babies are the best. I'll second that. That's good to hear.
So
dude, you hit the lottery.
Yeah,
like that's not necessarily my oldest just had his first, and that child will not sleep.
No,
so
that's rough.
No, it kind of stinks. You've been busy upgrading some audio and video equipment. You've gotten a chance to look at some new stuff in the role that you're in, the school that you're doing. Walk us through a little bit. What have you been looking at? What kind of new equipment have you been testing?
Yeah, so with the changes in the world these days, and the idea of some kids coming into school remotely, or just the restrictions that are in place, we knew that video was going to be a bigger component of our school year this year. And so there's kind of 2 categories. One is, what's that going to look like in a classroom, and the second is, what's that going to look like for some larger group events, whether that's sporting events or chapels or choir, whatever, so any kind of performance that the students are doing. I think that a lot of the stuff I'm talking about here is great for a home user too, except for the fact that it's pretty much sold out. So sorry, I bought up everything, but
not all of it's sold out. There's still some things
they're just twice the price of what they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
so for video, there's an awesome company called IPEVO, and they've just made excellent document cameras for schools for years, but you just aim them up and then they become a webcam, and people have been using them as webcams for years now, but the demand for these things has just spiked, with all the remote learning that's going on. But I got, really lucky and was able to get 20 of them on Amazon at the $99 price over the summer to outfit all of the classrooms. So everybody has those. And that I'm using actually the one that you're showing there on the screen is the one we bought at the school. And the one I'm using to make this show that you're looking at me on now is just their one step older model of this, the previous version, but still really good. So,
when you say document camera, do you mean, is this a camera that's almost like a modern day projector from the kids who were?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, when we were going through school. So this is like the showing of the invisible slides, but this is the modern day equivalent of showing something to the entire class. Yeah. But now, so they're using it for both showing those documents to the class plus their live camera?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been I hadn't bought these for my school before this, just because for most use cases, I just feel like there's better technology to be able to project the actual digital file on the projector screen. But there are some times when, especially like if they're doing manipulatives in math or some of the younger grades or whatever, then it is helpful to use an actual document camera. But yeah, so now everybody has them. If they need a document camera, the teachers can use them. But I mean, I've been using this one on my desk as a webcam for this kind of thing for years. And I love that it's on a stand is a huge thing to me, instead of having that clip. If you just get a regular webcam, it's like always falling off your monitor and stuff like that. So there's pros and cons with that, but
that was gonna be my question was, so when you're looking at things like, why don't they just share their screen for a PDF? But this makes a lot of sense for like a math classroom where you're doing calculations or like you said, other scenarios where it's a live setting and maybe you're not using the whiteboard setting on the share the screen. You're more writing it out as you would, as most of us learned, on some sort of projector style system.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those, that's just the device I'm a big fan of and works really well. It does have a built-in microphone, but I mean, it's the quality of a really cheap webcam microphone. It's not anything fancy. So I knew we wanted to upgrade the audio. And so I did a lot of research and just studying and trying to figure out what would work and what would work with the laptops that we have and everything. And Rode is kind of the first company that I know of that kind of came out with like a little a set like this, where I'm holding up two little boxes that are, if you put them together, they're maybe the size of a deck of cards, a little bit smaller than that for both of them. But one of them is the receiver and one of them is the transmitter. And then the one that's the microphone you can clip to a shirt or something. And then, a teacher can walk around the classroom and then it sends it back to their laptop. And then wherever they go in the classroom, their audio can be picked up and transmitted if they're doing any kind of virtual. We use Microsoft Teams, but Zoom or whatever platform you're using for video, it'll just send it into your laptop or whatever device you plug it into. And those have been really, really great.
Have you found that the teachers who use these, so I think what I have found, at least, is that there are people who don't even realize that audio isn't perfect everywhere you stand in a room, right? So, hey, I'm talking and I'm walking around while I'm presenting and my microphone is only on my computer. And there's a lot of people that don't understand that. the people that you've given these to, have they started to understand, hey, like the microphone is where I'm at? And, you know, you and I, actually, we just demonstrated this before the live show. This would be actually really well suited for a teacher who walks around and is not located strictly at the box.
Yeah. It's huge for that. And that's part of the thing, is just training people. Like, you know, that if you're teaching or doing a podcast or whatever, like you hear your audio, you know, you're not hearing how you sound. And so many people tolerate terrible audio, which, you know, if you're doing it for 1 hour a day, you'll probably deal with it. But after 8 hours of listening to terrible audio, you probably have a headache. You're not going to be focused as well. Like, I mean, so each person kind of has to take responsibility for their quality, because, you know, I can't be in every classroom, like sticking the mic in their face, you know, all the time. So it is kind of a thing. But I mean, just the other day, I was really excited because a teacher brought their microphone out of their classroom to a like an all staff meeting, because they knew they wanted to get better audio for what we were doing with the staff. And I was like, yeah, they get it. So so yeah, it's a work in progress, but it's been great. And there's so many use cases. I mean, you could record there's one guy that I've been helping like set up a podcast. Like one time he wanted to record like a Sunday school lesson he was teaching. And I think he just like set his laptop or his phone on the podium or something, and then the audio was terrible. He was probably walking around and things were banging into it. Like, dude, if you had one of these, you just clip it to your shirt, and yeah, it's not the same as a podcast microphone like what I'm using for this show, but it's 1,000 times better than just your laptop sitting on a podium in the middle of a giant classroom. So, and these are this is the Rode Wireless Go. It's only it's like, what does it go for? $200. That's before education discount. But that I get it at, but yeah. So, you know, I think it's well worth it. And there's other brands that are probably really good too. There's Comica Audio and Sarmonic or something like that. So there's other companies that have kind of started copying them. But as far as I know, Rode was kind of the first. And so I put them on our chapel speakers, because we're broadcasting the chapel for live stream video now. And then, I mean, it sounds better than a lot of the podcasts you listen to, you know, as far as the audio quality, just with the Rode mic clipped to their shirt and them in an auditorium. So.
Well, and that's what I think a lot of the problem is a lot of people are comparing these to, you know, Kyle, okay, so we just did some A/B testing before the show, right? And you're sitting in front of a fantastic microphone on a boom arm within relative distance to your voice, and that obviously sounds amazing. And we switch over to the Rode, like, it doesn't sound as good. But what we have to remember is that these teachers, and a lot of what people don't remember is they're walking around. This is a million times better for them walking around in front of a whiteboard, doing whatever, teaching, than compared to them right in front of their computer, picking up the computer microphone. So for probably 99% of the scenarios here, this is going to be a lot better fitting. And I can imagine for your chapel scenarios, I mean, I remember doing audio for our chapel at my high school. It was, okay, well, they're not standing right in front of this computer that's live streaming, and that's a real issue. And although it doesn't sound like an AM, FM, you know, radio broadcast, it's a million times better than what it would sound like if they're starting to walk away from the microphone. That's got to be a huge differentiator for you especially in the school environment. But, you know, reading the reviews, you got to kind of take that for a grain of salt, which is these guys are comparing it to podcasting microphones. Hey, well, I was trying to use it right from my podcast within a few feet of my microphone, whereas you're trying to use it in a real-time scenario of teachers are not standing in front of their laptops all day.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, if you recorded a podcast on this Rode Wireless Go, I could still listen to it and understand what you were saying, which is a lot better than some of the other podcasts I listen to, where it's like, can you at least run it through Auphonic or something? Like,
yeah, right.
like the one you couldn't understand the intro to.
That one? No, not that one.
Even those where I mean, a few years ago, this is a big advancement. A few years ago, I was in college doing my undergraduate in law school, and the professor, they had stuff that was installed in the classroom and it was supposed to pick them up. But man, as soon as they walked away from the range of there, I couldn't understand a word of what they were saying. And I would have taken marginal compared to nothing.
Yeah.
And I think Rode probably, I mean, would you agree this is better than marginal? I mean, when you had that thing on for you, I would consider that podcast worthy. Obviously, you were comparing it to the fantastic microphone you have in front of you, which was hard to compare to. But even
Kyle, can you switch it over?
Marginal,
While Mike's talking, can you switch that over just so we get an idea of?
Yeah, so I mean, while he's talking, I have he's going to switch that over for a second. I've thought about using these as a replacement for doing YouTube videos. So when I'm doing YouTube videos, I do a lot of tutorials where I'm doing smoking tutorials on how to smoke meat, things where I'm standing away from the microphone. And so I was doing some A/B testing, and this was one of the replacements I was looking for. So now Kyle has it set up where he can kind of give us an A/B comparison. So you heard him before, and now he's going to be talking to us from his Rode. Is it the Video Go? Correct?
This is a Rode Wireless Go.
Wireless Go.
Yeah. So I'm holding it basically in the same place where I have my my main microphone. So that's what it sounds like. You guys, can you tell the difference and make sure I'm actually on the right one?
Yeah,
one
for sure.
So,
clip it on your shirt like you would be walking around.
So if you clip it on your shirt, then it's a little bit lower, and the audio is not going straight into it. But I mean, for what we've been doing, and the other thing I was going to say is there's another camera we'll get to talking about, but it actually takes the input because this has a 3.5 millimeter output, and the camera we're going to talk about has an input for that. And so we've been able to just show up with that camera, connect this to it, direct into that, and then we could take this around. The one thing we did was the middle school choir sang the national anthem in our gymnasium, and the teacher just held this Rode Wireless Go up in front of the class while they were singing, and it sounded better than way better than I expected, and it got them on the singing, better than, because that microphone was probably the camera was probably 50 feet away or something like that. So, just by getting the microphone 50 feet closer, that'd be good. And this microphone is good for, consumer use too, as far as it'll plug into your DSLR or whatever. That's kind of one of the main things that people use them for too. So
and that's the unfair setup we're giving you right now. Honestly, we should have you turn around. We should have you talk to that. You have a water bottle on the edge of your desk over on your right shoulder there. We should have you turn around and talk to that, and then come back and talk to the mic. That's where so we're having you talk right in the same distance as you are. Where it really shines for something like this is the teacher has turned around to give a presentation. They are facing a totally opposite way, and they're still talking. And I guarantee your microphone right now. Yeah. So
see, I'm over on the other side of the room.
On the other side of the room, and it sounds just like he is right next to the microphone. And if we were able to do, we're not able to on this podcast, but if we're able to do A/B comparison, that microphone on your desk wouldn't have picked you up at all, because it has a very, it has that cone where it's rejecting noise from everywhere. So yeah, those sort of things are, I think, the biggest aspect for educational live streaming of the classes.
Yeah, I think they get I don't like them in the configuration you're wearing it right now, Kyle. I prefer it higher up on the, if you can get, right now Kyle kind of has that, low. I like it as just because I like the sound that it makes. I think it also has a lapel like mic that you can plug into it as well.
You can buy an additional mic for it. So.
But hold that right up to your right there, and then So
this is if I was talking directly into it. They actually make an adapter that will basically make this like a reporter's microphone that you can hold it up and talk to somebody, put it 2 inches from their face, like a sports announcer or something, sports reporter sticking it in the athlete's face or something. So,
and that's what this sounds like. This is not meant to replace your ATR 2100, your Heil PR40, your microphone for your podcast, right? That's not what this is meant to replace. This is meant to be, I'm away from the microphone, I'm doing testing, I want decent audio while I'm turned around. And again, we can't do it on the podcast, but if Kyle were to turn around and talk to that water bottle, we would be able to hear him on the road. We would not be able to hear him at all on his microphone that he has on his desk. And so that's kind of the difference here of, okay, while these instructors are walking around, I'm at least able to hear them adequately. And obviously we have Kyle. We prefer him on his very nice podcast mic while he's on the show. But for a professor or for a teacher, that's a big difference in audio.
Yeah, I agree. Kyle, I hadn't even thought about the application of in a classroom carrying it around and then handing it to a student to give them to give them better audio for that.
Yeah.
Hey, just hold on to this. Go ahead.
Yeah. The other thing is that one of the reasons I went with this is because I can plug the Rode Wireless Go into a splitter. And then the splitter sends one signal into the laptop for the remote students, and it sends the other signal in real time through a set of PC speakers that are mounted in the ceiling and amplifies the audio for the kids in the room. And it's a really cheap hack, but it works super well. It's a really impressive what you can get out of. All of our classrooms have PC speakers mounted, but even for live audio, it's been really good. So that's another use case.
So explain that again. You've got the microphone from the Rode Mic Go, the built-in one going to one source, and you've got the auxiliary jack from something else going to another
I'm splitting it with this cable.
Okay.
So on one end is the Rode. What's on the other?
No, the out. I'm splitting the output from the Rode.
Gotcha. Yep. Gotcha. Yep.
One's going to the Zoom or whatever it is, and one's going to the internal PA system of the guys who are in class. Okay.
You get remote and local at the same time. Yeah.
No, very cool.
That's great. No, that's a good way. That's a good way to think about that. The other thing, I like it. I think and it does diminish the quality, and the sound goes down. So you need to power it in some way, right? When you do that. Yep. The other end needs to be powered, but you're going to get that if you're going online. You're going to get that anyways. People will be able to turn themselves up, and in the classroom, you've got some powered speakers you could turn up as well. The other thing in a mixed classroom, and I know some classrooms have gone where half the kids are there and half the kids are in the classroom. Half the kids are at home and half the kids are in the classroom. And we have all these mixed kind of online and both in person and online. Something like this, for a teacher, they need to be amplified, right? Not just for the people in the room, but for the folks that are watching kind of online for that as well. We just had a family get COVID, and in that their kids are home for the next 2 weeks, and they have to, now they have to figure out, because they were in school, and now they got to figure out how to do it that way. You'd mentioned this already. Let's bring it up. You said there's a camera that you've been looking at as well, the MEVO camera. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is called the MEVO Start live streaming camera, and then it really just has a ton of great features that were useful to me. And I mean, there's so many ways you could use this in a school. You could use it in at home. I mean, you'd pretty much have to use it with a tripod. But I think even a home user, it could, depending on what you're doing, if you're making family movies or something like that, it just has a lot of great features built into a small package, and really a great price point when it's at $400. But when you consider that most webcams are now, a lot of them especially when they were out of stock, were $200 and up. This device, it can act as a webcam and plug in with direct USB, which is 90% of what I'm doing with it. But it also has the ability to run on Wi-Fi and to stream live to YouTube or whatever platform you want to live stream to, right from that. And it's battery powered. So you're literally just, charge the battery, stick it on a tripod, and set it up for a wedding, for a funeral, for a church service, a family gathering, whatever you want to do, and press the button and start streaming. So it can do all that. It can save a recording to the SD card. And then one feature it has too is called NDI HX, which allows you to transmit video signals over your network and work with them in a video switcher program. So I could have multiple cameras coming in over NDI, and then I could cut between them.
Could you put one of these up, for example, in the corner of a chapel, and have this be one of the switching cams for your chapel experience?
Yeah, if you wanted to do it that way. Right now we're just using one. I only have one of these, and I just have a straight shot in chapel, and then in the gym I just have a straight shot in the gym of the volleyball game, because we just have one. But the capabilities of this camera are to allow it to do more than that. So that's one of the reasons that made it really attractive as an option for me. We are using StreamYard, which is what we're doing the show on now. We're using StreamYard and going to YouTube for like the public things like the volleyball games, so that parents can watch. So it works great with StreamYard as a USB camera. And then when we do like chapel and other more private ones or classroom things, then we're using it with Microsoft Teams and streaming out through that. So it's been working great in both scenarios. And it's a much higher quality, especially at the long distance shots, than just like a webcam. Even like the other webcam is a Logitech Brio. That's a 4K webcam. It's really high quality, but it's just not meant for those long range shots. So, I've been really happy with this camera. And then there's an app with it too. So you can control it from the app, and you can actually kind of pinch and zoom and kind of crop your image if you want to from the app, and adjust audio levels and do a bunch of automation. You can even tell it to track a person as they move around. You can also connect an app to the MEVO Start camera that will allow your phone to become a microphone. So again, we were talking about audio. If you don't have a Rode Wireless Go, you can just hold your phone up while you're talking in the front of the room. You could be 50 feet away or something, and it's getting the audio from your phone microphone instead of having to travel 50 feet to the camera in the back. So really flexible. They're going to keep updating the software and everything, but it's been impressive for what we've needed.
Yeah, it could be even cool for, if your school want to start a video club, right? And you've got some kids who want to live stream a volleyball game. Well, hey, we've got 1-2 cameras we can live switch in. I could assume you could probably find a way to bring that into something like OBS, and bring that in and then have your own, broadcast. And you could have some cameras already there for the studio that these kids could then provide live commentary or something of the like. So probably a pretty versatile camera that allows you to adapt to really any scenario is what it seems like.
Yep.
Okay.
It's been good with that. Yeah. We use, it would work with, if you use you could do it on USB, it would go into OBS, or you could do the NDI version to OBS. And then I usually use vMix, which is like kind of a paid version of it's the same concept as OBS. I've been a big fan of vMix. But yeah, that's what we use. And it's been good.
Is this an example? Let me bring this up. Was this shot on that MEVO?
Yes.
That's actually a really clear video.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a clip at like 2 hours and 2 minutes in where that's where they were singing the national anthem. I think it just ended there maybe. So they were using the Rode Wireless Go and the MEVO Start and the kids, that's where they were singing the national anthem. Nice. So
yeah, I don't think I'd get the audio through here anyway. Yeah, so I have to set that up different.
And is that difficult to do the control through? Like if you're live streaming to YouTube or something like that, is it difficult to get the Rode to be the microphone, things like that? Does it require software?
that MEVO Start just has a 3.5 millimeter port on the back, and you just plug the Rode in, and that's it. That's all you have to do.
Actually, okay. Get a little audio in there. I don't think we're going to get.
Oh, there you go.
For this,
it's pretty quiet, but
yeah, I can't. There's not much I can do to bring that. Well, hold on. Yeah, there is. 1 second here. You just got to be smarter.
No, there you go.
And that's coming right off the mic, right?
Right. That's the off the Rode Wireless Go.
She's holding it.
The teacher is holding it, which I didn't know she was going to wave her arms around and direct the choir while holding the microphone. So there's a little bit of like wind noise, but it works.
But still, it's better than it coming off straight from the video camera. Like most times
50 feet away. Yeah. So
yeah, $400. That's not. That's actually not a bad $400 investment.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot you could do, and if I wanted that to be my webcam, like I could use it as a webcam, right? This way, and then take it off the mount. It looks like it mounts pretty. It looks like here it mounts pretty easily. I could pull that thing off and take it with me if I needed to for other shots.
And backup recording to an SD card. So, I mean, you could use it as a camcorder essentially, you know?
Yeah, that's all through the back there.
Yep.
Yeah, you get kind of a nice, now it's 1080p at 30 frames, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting.
So it's not the highest. Nope, it's not the highest end on as far as it's not going to do 4K. It's not going to do
that SD
60 frames, but
right. But that SD card, I'm assuming, is right down there at the bottom of it, right?
Which is great for something like sports broadcasting or chapel broadcasting, where it's, hey, you got kids running the show, right? They want to do a video club, but something got messed up, and we still need that recording out there. We need a recording of graduation. Sorry, like you messed up. Having that secondary recording has always come in handy, even from if this is your main camera or a secondary camera. I could see that being a huge benefit.
Yeah, I like it. That's something to think about. Kyle, I think that's going to get added to I get these questions all the time about, hey, what kind of webcam should I have? And, now you're paying $150 probably for a decent webcam. And you're like, well, what else do you do? What else are you going to want to do with it? Right. And if you're going to have remote shots like you guys just have one.
That's all I bought so far.
Yeah. Would you, if you could, like, how many for you would be the right number for what you guys are doing?
I'm trying to decide, because like one of the downsides of if I added HDMI based cameras to the system, then for every one of those that I want to integrate into a video production, I gotta buy an HDMI capture card to go with it, and those are just a pain, especially when you have middle schoolers tripping over cords and stuff. So I don't know. I'm interested in options. I don't know what I think you can actually combine the two of the MEVO starts together with their software, or at least they said that's a feature that's coming. Like just 2 Wi-Fi MEVO starts and set them up and just control them in the app. I probably would use vMix or StreamYard or something to do that, but I don't think having 2 of them would be bad. I think that would be good. So.
Okay. It'd make a great smoker cam for the grill, barbecue grill and smoking meetup that's coming up. I'm just saying. It'd be nice. It could stream now 6-hour battery life,
right?
But I'm assuming with this plug right here, I can plug. That's the
3.5 millimeter, and the one below it is the USB Type C where you can power it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they actually have an adapter that does Ethernet and power. If you have a power over Ethernet cable, you can actually power it and send Ethernet to it.
Nice.
At the same time. That's like $100, but
that's a game changer. If you could have that, that could be because most schools, your switches are PoE, right? A lot of those schools. So if you could run PoE to a certain corner of the building, hey, now I've got video, I've got constant power, and then you got to bring it in whatever you mix it in, even if you mix it in their software or OBS or vMix, whatever it is, that is a game changer. If I could just leave that thing up in a corner and not worry about it, that's huge. Putting one here, right? Like in the studio, putting one here and running it over PoE. I've got my switches PoE. I could leave that there and not have to worry about all the chargers and dangles I have running around from my camera right now.
Kyle, rated for outdoor at all, or is it?
Yeah, I doubt it.
Okay,
I don't think so. But
so you want to make sure you're protecting it like you would kind of a regular camera. I don't know. It seems heavy duty. Like you came on Ask the Podcast Coach and was talking about that. And I was kind of like, I saw the camera like, oh, okay, that's not whatever. But now that you're like going through the whole thing, I'm like, wait a minute, this is way cooler than I thought it was. And I'm kind of thinking of some applications for it now where you're like, wow, this could be really helpful to have, because basically it's a portable webcam is what it boils down to. Right?
Or, could this be a security camera? What I heard was,
I wonder if it would. I wonder if it's plugged in all the time. If you're gonna like rot the battery or something,
That's a good point. And with PoE for 1080p 30, I can get this for $50 for a
It's a lot more.
case. You're right. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's a good idea though, Mike. I think you're thinking along the right lines. I like the idea of if you've got several outlets, Kyle, it's the example at your school, you could have different permanent outlets that are ready to go, and then you could have a couple cameras that they're not there all the time. The students check them out, plug them in, record the event, after the event, take them down, put them away, right? Yep. And so you've got some options kind of based on your point of view and what you want to do. So no, that's super cool. And $400 is not that's not unreasonable for that.
And I think one thing that we almost glossed over just because I'm not using it this way, but it's live streaming from a Wi-Fi camera, like straight, no laptop. I'm not using it that way, but no laptop, no StreamYard, just push the button. You got to set up the account on your phone on the app, connect to it and configure it. But then after that, it's just go live on YouTube, Facebook, whatever platform you set up. And that's it. It's just a camera on Wi-Fi and battery. So for some people, that's all they need.
Yeah, for a lot of schools, especially sporting events, if I put this in the press box of a football game or for a volleyball game, indoors, basketball game, that's going to be a million times better than what they had before. For especially streaming a sporting event is what I'm kind of thinking of. Or, you could do it for any sort of, production event, choir, band, whatever. I didn't even think about that. You're right. That might be the undersold thing here is that for $400, you're getting an all-in-one production studio. Hey, put this up, connect it. The game is live and you're good. And for a lot of people right now, that might be worth it.
Yep.
Super cool. Kyle, thanks for bringing now I'm distracted with that thing. I'm like, oh boy, this looks like
use that for. I'm thinking the same exact thing, Jim. Like, man, what did I use that for?
Be my smoker cam. That's how I justify it. I mean,
it's a full-time Twitch streamer on smoke.
I mean, if conferences were still going on, Jim, and you were doing podcasting from conferences or something, might be something useful there too.
Right. Yeah, actually, you're right. No, that would probably work out. That'd probably work out really well. Kyle, since we've got you, it's buried down in the notes, but I want to ask you, from an Xbox perspective, we haven't talked about the Xbox announcements at all on this show. That just has not made Entertainment 2.0. It's on there. They're talking about it on Windows Weekly all the time. Kyle, have you followed the Xbox announcements?
Yeah,
at all?
Yeah. I've been following Xbox ever since Halo existed. So that's I'm Xbox because of Halo. But so my brother and I got and when I was in high school, we got some used original Xbox and played a ton of Halo on it. And then the very first Christmas that my wife and I were married, she somehow managed to negotiate with every single family member to combine in and buy me an Xbox 360. We still have that Xbox 360 12 years later. Wow. Never got a red ring of death, nothing. So, and that's another thing I put in my notes too, is one of the things that's been awesome getting through the COVID situation with having a 4-year-old in the house is he's gotten into playing the Lego games. So Lego has all kinds of video games with Indiana Jones and Star Wars and The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and the Lego movie. And so many evenings after supper, it's after dinner, it's all right, Turner, here we go, turn on the video game, and he can do all the controls as a 4-year-old. So that's been an awesome experience. And again, using the same Xbox that we've had for 12 years now. So that's been pretty awesome. And I always wanted to upgrade to the next Xbox. Actually, here's one of the main reasons I never did upgrade to the Xbox One is because Halo 5 came out and they didn't have split screen multiplayer. And literally because my wife and I we would play Halo split screen Xbox Live together before the kids came. But once they took that away, I was like, well, what's the point of Halo 5 if I can't do split screen? So, so I think maybe that's coming back. And I don't know why I haven't kept up exactly with the new Halo, but so I don't know. Xbox Series X and Series S, they look awesome. The price point seem right for what you're getting. I mean, I know I would rather it not be $500 for the big one, but to me, the X is interesting because I might want that Blu-ray player, and also because I think that if I want to play my collection of original Xbox games, I'm going to need a disc slot. So we'll see. I don't know. Who knows? It may or may not be in my future. Well, I don't know yet.
I think you have a little time because they're impossible to find. They sold out pretty instantly on those. So you got a little bit of time. Mike, are you looking at either one of those?
Oh man, I definitely was. I've been keeping up on the news just to see what the price comparison is. But as everyone on this show knows, I built a gaming PC not too recently. So I've been doing a lot on the gaming PC, but I was really shocked and pleasantly surprised at the pricing. You know, as Kyle alluded to, I mean, $500 for what you're getting on the new Xbox is a fantastic deal. And if you have been a console gamer historically, I mean, don't even think about building a PC, because even for $1,000, you're not going to get close to what the Xbox is going to deliver for $500. I'll just be straight up there. The graphics are going to be great. They've got solid state now for their storage, which honestly, that was the biggest thing for me, is why has the console not gone to solid state storage until now? I mean, literally, we have been talking about, Jim, SSDs for how long, and they are just now getting to that on console.
They're M.2, right? So they're really good.
I think they're even faster. Yes, or M.2 or even faster. And swappable storage, meaning you can buy almost like our good old days of PS2 and stuff like that, and Xbox Original, where we all had those little memory cards we would carry around from house to house, and you take it to your buddy's house and had your games on it, your game stats on it. Yeah, you're getting back to that. So the price point for me is really good. I was really surprised. Had I not just built this PC, I would definitely be looking for one, because they are, I honestly think, for value to gameplay, I think you're going to see a big jump. Well worth it if you're on the Xbox One, man. And if you're on the Xbox 360, like how, I mean, that is a massive upgrade for the price. I think for the price, if you're going from 360 to this, I was on the Xbox One, and I think it would still be a really good upgrade. Now, you got to keep this in mind. I see a lot of people. I'm part of The Dad, and Kyle, you got to, if you're not part of this, The Dad gaming Facebook group. The Dad is a brand, and they have a good group out there. But a lot of these guys are wanting to upgrade to the new series, but they're still running old display hardware. Now that's a big thing for us. So if you're still running a 1080p, 30 or 60 FPS monitor, or 60 hertz, or 30 hertz monitor /TV, there's no use in upgrading to this. You might load your games a little faster, but as far as like displaying the games at a higher FPS and a higher display, I think really this is intended for the people who have the either gaming monitors or the TVs who can go higher than maybe a 60 hertz refresh rate. So that's the only thing I'll say is keep in mind your display. If you have a display that's not ready for it, maybe don't invest the money until you have a display that's ready to utilize the fantastic hardware that's in the new Xbox.
Yeah, my TV is still 720p. So
see, and so, but that's a good example, right? Like, it wouldn't make sense for you to upgrade from your 360 to here, because you're not going to see the difference anyway.
Unless there's games. I don't even know what the games are, but unless there's games that are only available for the newer one, but.
True. If you're in it for the games, then worth it. But
Kyle, does the
upgrade the monitor?
The monthly payment entice you at all to go with $35?
Man, that is tempting. I don't like being in debt, but I mean, man, when you do the math on that, you're getting all the games, you're paying it over time. There's no interest. Like, man, I mean, you add up Amazon and Disney Plus and YouTube Red, and it's like YouTube Premium, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same as that. So I mean, I'm not going to cancel those things just to get it, but
yeah, I just wonder if that gets you
$5 a month.
Yes, normally I don't do kind of those payment type things, but it's a good value. It is a good deal.
If you're already paying for Xbox Ultimate, which honestly is what I'm paying for, which is Game Pass and Xbox Live all together, which I don't know what the cost is, but it's around $20 a month. You're only adding $10 more a month on, and like Kyle said, no interest. I don't even use the Xbox. I use my PS. I'm like, that might even be a good deal for me. For $10 extra a month, I can give up 2 coffees a month and have the brand new system to play on. They're $35 a month offering. If you're already paying for Xbox Ultimate, I will say, if you're not, it's a conversation. But if you're already paying for Ultimate, it's really a no-brainer, to be totally honest.
The other thing I'm interested in
now, get the $200 and apply that to your $10 a month extra for your Xbox Ultimate for the new Xbox.
My Xbox 360 lays flat into my stand under my TV, or like the table that's there. So I don't even know if the Series X being like that cube shape, if it will even fit. I really don't. I'm assuming I can tip it sideways, but
I would say,
but even with the cube, I don't know how tall. I can't tell what the width is or whatever. If it's,
well, it's the width of the controller plus a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You know,
the reviews have been saying keeping it on its vertical is better, right? Because that fan, it's like the old school trash can Mac Pros that everyone made fun of. That fan shoots straight at the top, and when you lay it horizontal, you're sending heat to the side, which doesn't work very well. So
they would not. I wish it was designed a little shaped differently. It doesn't fit with what I have.
For a reason is my point. Is like they haven't shown it laying down for a reason. I think for heat reasons, you're gonna want it straight up.
I'm kind of tempted on the Series S, and Kyle, in your case, I think if you're going to move to the Series X, the big one, you're buying a new TV at the same time. You have to. You can't buy an S and then put it on a TV that can't play the 4K, right? So you're probably, if you're going to do the S, you're probably in for both. I think you buy both at the same time. Otherwise, I think you go on the S and I think you buy it outright, by the way. I don't think, unless do you already use the Game Pass and all those other
We don't know. We don't have any of it. We don't have any of it right now. So I don't even know. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm still playing
right on
Lego Star Wars 2 from,
but I think that
12 years ago or something. I don't know
what you're doing. The S gets you into this class at a pretty great price point that you don't do it monthly. And you can still use your existing equipment, and it kind of gets you into that.
But I don't think I can play my same games though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look into. I haven't been following the games either. I haven't been following the games on that. So there's some good options. I think. So the one I bought, I think it's a One, right? That's what they call them, Xbox One. No, what's the one I bought? Yeah, One. So yeah, it went into the living room. So Sarah she needed a Blu-ray player, and I was like, well, okay, just take this. And so I'm like, well, okay, I think the S is my price point to get back into this.
And you have enough monitors for it too down there, don't you?
I do. I have quite a few that we could play it on, but I would probably upgrade. Well, I'd have to look into it. Not interested in the big one. I just don't do it enough. I don't play enough.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting. I love seeing what they're doing on Xbox. It was great to have the One S for what I had it for. I played a lot of Forza on that thing when I had it. I kind of bought the Forza version of it. And so this is probably we'll probably get into the holidays and they become available and you can find them again and they'll have deals. Is it $199? What's the S series? Is it $199 or $249?
$299.
$299.
Yeah.
So we'll see some $249 deals come out for sure. So I'm not going to buy anything until I see just kind of how the deals go around Christmas time. So pretty cool, Kyle. It's a good conversation, and I think it's for a lot of listeners. It's they didn't go with the Xbox One version of whatever, and now they're kind of thinking like, oh, maybe now is the time. Some really good hardware.
It's great hardware. I mean, the upgrades there were just overall great. I don't think you can argue with that. I don't think you can argue that the hardware specs were not adequately upgraded. Yeah. Now, but Kyle's concerns on whether you can play old games, things like that, those are valid concerns that I don't think we know the answers to yet.
No, for sure. I just think we've got some, and you know what? We got some time to work through it. We don't have to make any decisions right now because one, you can't buy them. They're not.
Yep.
They're all.
Or if
They're
you're
all
PC
sold out.
you're already playing these
Yeah.
games. Look at me. I'm like, I just built this PC. I'm already like, yeah, PC's great. Look at it. I can play at whatever FPS I want. Just upgrade if I don't want to buy a 3090 GPU, that's a thing. We haven't even
Jim-
talked about those releases yet.
Yeah.
Jim, can I tease two other things
you bet.
that I got
Yeah.
on my list here?
You
So
bet.
we don't have time to go through this whole thing, but I'll say that I'm going to do it on here so I can hold myself accountable. But my plan is to write up a blog post that explains how I got pfSense running in Hyper-V on my home network, and it's double natted. So my internet comes in through Comcast, and then that goes to my main router, and then pfSense has an internal IP that acts as the WAN, and then it goes out of pfSense, and I'm actually running on my double natted pfSense right now as my router. So the only computer that gets access to pfSense is my computer. The rest of the house and all the Wi-Fi is all on just the Comcast and then the Asus router. So that was an adventure, and someday I'll explain that and make a video and go through it and stuff.
No,
So,
that's interesting. You don't have, and I think this is true for a lot of Americans right now. You don't have the ability to bridge your modem or your router from. You said who's it from? Who's your ISP?
Comcast.
it's Comcast. So
Comcast modem into one router, right? So you have to be double NAT if you want to run anything internal for routing.
I don't know because I have a modem. It's actually, I bought the modem. I think it's the Zoom brand modems. And so it's my modem and it goes Ethernet out to my current router. Now one of my questions was, what happens if I plug that modem into a switch? I don't know what happens. Maybe somebody knows what happens if you do that. But
the big problem is that the real solution here is logging in to your modem. So whether that's through Comcast, most Cox, Comcast, they all have like a way to interface. If you want to try and bypass that, you can try the IP address, which is usually 192.168. Now you have to look at your local network here, either 1.0 or 0.0 or 1.1 or 0.1. You have to try there's a few IP addresses where you can get access to the modem. The real question here is whether you can put your modem into what's called bridge mode. And bridge mode gives your public facing IP address, pretty much it gives your internal router access to that public facing IP address. So that's really your true question. Once you find out, and to be totally honest, most residential lines give you access to bridge mode. Cox here in Omaha allows you to do bridge mode where it's, hey, I'm not using you as a router. I want to utilize my own internal router. Put your modem into bridge mode, which is pass that IP address straight along to the next box in line, which is usually your router. I wouldn't put it behind a switch. A switch really adds, don't put a switch right behind your residential ISP router. That provides a lot of problems. But once you find that out, that's really the true question, because that will allow your router to have true public facing access, which is what you really want for your pfSense box. But I love the exploration that you're going through, because it's honestly what every single average guy goes through on, can I set up internal routers? And we talk about them a lot here on Home Gadget Geeks. We talk about pfSense, we talk about Untangle, which is what I run. We talk about Sophos, Bitdefender. We talk about them all, but it all truly goes back to the question. And I don't know, Jim, we might have not addressed this in detail of, can your modem go into bridge mode? Yeah. Can you actually pass along that public IP down to your router level?
Mike, here's the good news. So tonight during the Patreon meetup, we were talking to the Patreon guys, right? Those who support the show, theaverageguy.tv/Patreon, if you want to join that group. And they said, hey, we'd love to do like a specialty show on pfSense. So, or not show, but a meetup. We don't broadcast it. We're not restricted to time. It's all of us getting together in a Zoom call or whatever. We use Google Meet tonight. But Kyle, let me put that on your plate, and to give you a little bit more accountability. Maybe that's something that you bring to talk about and ask some questions on. So I think that's very appropriate. Maybe in November, we'll do a pfSense. Is that enough time for you if I gave you till November?
I probably that's my.
Okay.
I hope so.
All right, maybe we'll
Like tomorrow. Be like,
maybe
we just gave me, he'll be like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm good. Like, I'm ready.
maybe we'll make that our November meetup. So okay, you said two things. What's the other thing you want to?
So the other one, this is like a question for the community because I need help. Is I want to get remote starts for my cars, and one is a 2010 Ford Focus, and one is a 2019 Kia Sorento. So we're going with one that is like barely computers in it, and the other one is like you have to have a computer to even touch the car. So the 2019 Kia Sorento is I'm like, oh man, I can't do my own brakes anymore because there's like 5,000 options in the computer just to touch it. So that's kind of scaring me. But they're two different extremes. But I would love to get remote starts, and then you get into, do you want it to have cellular connectivity? Do you want to be able to do it from your phone? Is there a kit where they like know that I own two cars and I can do them both from the same app? Like I don't know anything about this. So I'm just starting to research and think about that. But when we bought the new car, we were like, we're getting remote start. That's in the budget for the cost of the new car. So it's going to happen. But I don't know anything about it yet. So
I'm going to write that down. Remote starters. That's going to be but in your case, Kyle,
that's a great idea because I know nothing about cars either. I want that. We need an expert here in that area.
Is there Kyle, is there a great way if somebody had some expertise on this to contact you that's not weird and creepy, but that you could give out? That do you have a way of doing that, or should we have them go through the Facebook group, or what works best?
The Facebook group. Yeah, I'm in the Facebook group, and I'm on Twitter at KyleJWX.
Okay. And
those would be the two best
our
options.
Facebook group address. I haven't said this in a long time.
Discord, right?
theaverageguy.tv/Facebook. That's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Head out there, join the group. I'll let you in, and we still are kind of active on that group, sort of. So head out there if you want to do it. Kyle's not on Discord, so don't take it to the Discord group.
Sorry,
I'm a lurker there. I don't check it very much,
okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll try and get some info for you. That's actually a great segment. I had to do more on the show. Is have the guests ask for what do I need help with, and then get some of those things started because I'm sure there's some expertise out there in Car Stars. Kyle, thanks for taking the hour. I appreciate you and what you mean to the community and just the longevity. You've been around for a super long time. I think you were like 7 when you started hanging out with us. Here, you were just a kid. I'm pretty sure you were a teenager. When I
still consider Mike the new guy. So,
so you are.
He's been hanging around for a while. He won a Drobo at an old school meetup a long time ago. And I left to drive in it by mistake. Sent him home.
I should be like, well, Kyle's the co-host and I'm the guest at this point.
No, it's all good. Kyle, thanks for jumping in. You're a busy guy and I appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in tonight.
Yep. I think I'm going to bounce out while you guys close up. So.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it. Have a good evening, Kyle.
Thanks guys.
You bet. Thanks for jumping in. Hey, a couple things. So we threw Kyle in right at the start so I could cover some community stuff. I'll cover those now here. Just a couple reminders, Mike. This is the last time I'm going to mention this for a while, but HelloFresh, right?
It's not the last time. It is
actually. Kyle mentioned StreamYard, and in October, we're going to cover StreamYard. And so you can go to theaverageguy.tv/StreamYard if you're interested in doing what we're doing here. I'm going to kick Kyle out. So there he goes.
There you go.
So if you're interested, I can't be on the left. There we go. If you're interested in doing stuff like this, maybe you want to do a podcast, or maybe you want to record meetings because StreamYard's great for some of this stuff. So that's the October. They're the October sponsors. So you can go to theaverageguy.tv/StreamYard. But if you haven't tried HelloFresh, last week I'm going to mention it for a while. Theaverageguy.tv/HelloFresh. We've been crushing it. We've been doing 2 people meals while the kids are gone. Kids come back, we switch them over to 4 people meals. They're just nice to have around. They're always in the fridge. You never have to think about what you want to buy. Get $40 off your first week. Just try it for a week. Let me know how it goes. theaverageguy.tv/HelloFresh. We met with the Patreon folks tonight, and that was awesome. So thank you to all our Patreon subscribers who came, not all of them, but we had 9 of them out there. By the way, if you're a Patreon subscriber and you couldn't make it, it's okay. You didn't miss the last one. We're going to try and do these monthly or every month or so. And so kind of watch if you're not on our email list. So go to theaverageguy.tv/subscribe, and there's a way to sign up. I'm going to be I've never had a real reason to send out emails on that subscription thing without it feeling like spam. But we have so many things planned that are coming up that you could participate in. Now is the time to subscribe. So head out to theaverageguy.tv/subscribe. Just fill in your email. I won't spam you. I will send you weekly or every other week, whatever. Just kind of keep you up to date on what's going on with the barbecue meetup, which is public, by the way, and anybody can come. Mike, I am super excited. Like, I have power set up outside. I got a new desk for outside. I found my tripod. I got the camera.
You have prepped for this,
dude. We're gonna live stream smokers like there is no tomorrow. And so you're gonna be able to live stream yours.
100%. Yeah,
okay.
him.
Yeah, we'll have some others in there. I hope. We need you, by the way. If you're listening to this and you're like, I could stream my smoker, like a sentence said by no one ever, right? But we're gonna do it. It's gonna be super fun. We're gonna set like new records on the internet. Let me know, Jim at theaverageguy.tv, if you can stream your smoker or your grill, whatever. We don't care, right, Mike?
Yeah, my plan is to smoker in the background. In the foreground is going to be my iPad with the meter, MEATER, set up with the app, so you guys can see the temperature as it goes up with the meat, ambient temperature, things like that. I will forewarn you, the ambient temperature sensor on my meter is messed up, so that's out the door. But at least you guys will be able to see the smoker in the background plus the meat temperature as it goes. You guys will be able to witness a stall of meat, right? As our smoke butt hits 160, it sits there for like an hour or two. You guys will be able to witness that. So that's my plan, at least, is to do a live webcam of the iPad plus the smoker. If we can make that work.
Smokers are going to be on the averageguy.tv/live all day.
Yeah.
So that will be the live stream. There'll be chat going on. There'll be all kinds of things. I may have to reset that feed once or twice. I think YouTube limits me to maybe 8 hours. So we'll have to get that thing figured out. But join us for the meetup. The sections in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening, those are Central Time concepts. They're going to be open to the public. You don't need to do anything. Doesn't cost you anything. We're just going to jump in and rub our meat, just to be really honest.
Gotta rub that meat all day.
Yeah. So this will be, and
if you ever want to see Jim or Mike rub their meat, this is your chance.
MEAT, the Meetup is what we're going to be doing. So we want to have you. October 24th, I do have the Eventbrite set up. It's right now it's in private mode because I don't want a bunch of yahoos finding it. So go out, I think right now, theaverageguy.eventbrite.com. I'll put it in the show notes as well. And that'll take you over there and you can see the meetup. You have to listen to the podcast to be able to go to the meetup. So get signed up. Let me know you're coming. We are going to have a good time for doing that. I think that covers everything, Mike.
I think it does.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Fun to hang out with the Patreon folks.
I loved it.
Guys.
That was a blast. Yeah,
it was a ton of fun. Yeah, we could have spent more time together doing that, but they gave me some great ideas, and that's exactly what I was looking for. So, kind of gave me a burst of energy. Ron, no worries. We'll do that meetup again, and so if you want to join us that way, super great. Lots of by the way, just lots of cool tech coming down here around Christmas time. So Mike, I'm kind of pumped about what's ahead and some of the technology that's out there and some of the things we have to talk about. We've got some guests coming up over the next several weeks. Chris Nessie is coming back. Chris talked a little bit about, he's an educator. There's a little bit of a theme going on here when we think about education kind of post-COVID. And so we're going to talk, Chris is coming back on to talk about what his school is doing. I have Nathaniel lined up to come back in to talk about what he's doing. I'm super interested in his hardware refresh or what they did this year. He's kind of in the firefight of the infrastructure and how they do it. So I'm kind of, so Nathaniel, I'm putting you on a little bit of warning that's what we're going to talk about. So I hope you're ready to get that done. He's always a great guest. Erin Lawrence is coming back on the 5th of November. So she's got a ton of reviews. If you haven't been following Erin on YouTube, you should be doing that. She's got a ton of reviews. And then, of course, we're playing towards, oh, by the way, I did get Bitdefender interviewed. So we interviewed him Tuesday morning. Christian came on.
Oh, nice.
We have an hour-long interview talking about the box and the VPN and some cybersecurity stuff. That will go live the October 15th week that I am out. So no Home Gadget Geeks on the 15th live if you're coming out. I will be out of town doing other things, but I will put those in the feed for that Thursday and on the live channel. I'll do a bunch of stuff so you can see it. really fun interview with Christian and a great opportunity to go both on Home Gadget Geeks and Cyber Frontiers. It fits both shows. So that'll be coming as well. Then, Mike, we're going to party like it's 1999. December 3rd. We haven't spent a lot of time talking about this yet, but we will, as we're coming up, 10-year anniversary show. And Christian's coming back. I'm trying to get Zadler back. We're trying to get Andrew back. Of course, you will be here. And so great opportunity to kind of maybe relive a few moments, but have some great catch up with folks, see what's going on, talk about some tech. I really want you, if you don't come out and join us live, look at Joe and Ron and Brian and Ken and John and Paul, you guys who join us live typically, right? I know I didn't get everybody, but that's close enough. I appreciate you guys coming out live. That live show on December 3rd, I'd love to have just as many people in the chat room as we can. So get that on your calendar right now, December 3rd, 2020, even though Mike lost his camera, and join us live. Join us. I'd love to have 100 of you out there live for the live show. It'd mean a lot to me. 10 years, Mike, 10 years of Home Gadget Geeks.
That's a lot of time doing one thing. I told Jim 5 years. I've been with him 5 years. It's been the longest I've done anything. So 10 years.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
470 some shows. I'm not exactly sure.
Tilted in video because I went and grabbed my camera to reset it. Now let's just both be.
There's an Xbox up there. Oh, all my liquor is up there. Probably shouldn't show that. Oh, yikes. So it's okay. It's just empty bottles. I keep Jefferson's Ocean. I keep the bottles. It's just one of the things I do. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at the AverageGuy.tv live. Right on your calendar right now, December 3rd, 2020. Get that. You're going to want to join us live, 8 p.m. Central. Listen, I don't really care about time zones. Just 10 years. You can stay up late or wake up early or whatever, right? Set that time aside. Make sure you're streaming us. Make sure you've got the app downloaded. It's still available out there if you want to get it. Make sure you can join us live December 3rd. But we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at the AverageGuy.tv/live. For everybody who came out live tonight, thanks for doing that. For the Patreon subscribers, for the Meetup, make sure you get signed up for the October 24th Meetup. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.